From Mexico to Puerto Rico and every Latin American culture in between, Spanish chicken and rice is a beloved one-pot recipe that is easy to make and is ready to eat in as little as an hour. Arroz con pollo can differ from family to family, but my family made it with beer. I'm Aaron Ramson, and today we're making drunken chicken and rice. We're gonna need 3 to 5 pounds of bone-in chicken. You don't have to use a whole one. You can just get yourself chicken thighs or breasts, whatever you prefer. 1 onion, any variety as long as it's medium large. Garlic, 3 cloves or a bulb. Carrots, don't use 3, that was too. 1 single solitary sweet red pepper. 2 serrano peños. 1 Roma tomato. 2 ribs of celery. 1.5 cups of rice. Arborio is awesome, but I love jasmine too. Half a can of olives adds awesome nutty flavor. Smoked paprika, Spanish variety here. Ground cumin and its underrated partner in crime, turmeric, formerly known as turmeric. Ground coriander adds this awesome citrusy note. And this is Mexican oregano. It's got a different flavor from your standard variety oregano. So if you can get the Mexican stuff, do it. It just works better in this recipe. Always bay leaves. Always salt too, definitely. Black pepper, it's the most overrated spice ever. It's not bad, just overrated. And the star of today's episode, Pilsner beer. You don't have to use a craft variety. If you like Coors Banquet or Miller Genuine Draft, PBR, whatever, use that, as long as you would drink it. About 1/2 cup of cooking oil to brown that chicken in. Chicken stock, broth, or bouillon. My personal favorite is this, better than bouillon, great flavor. I like to pre-mix my spices so I can see what I'm working with. Got 2 teaspoons of paprika. 1 teaspoon of turmeric. I guess it sounds cooler than turmeric. I kind of like turmeric better anyway. 1 teaspoon cumin. My girlfriend feels about cumin the way I feel about black pepper. It contributes minimal flavor, but I'll still use a teaspoon. 1 teaspoon oregano. I always like to rub my herbs in my palm, so just get it in the palm of your hand, rub it, and try to get most of it in the bowl. If 85% of it gets in the ramekin, I'm personally okay with that. 1/2 teaspoon of ground coriander. Mixing herbs in a ramekin is highly satisfying. I just love seeing the color change. See how it's going from like yellow and red and green, and it's just kind of blending into this beautiful sandy color. And you know what I forgot? The salt. How did I forget salt? All right, get in the pool with the rest of the kids. Come on. All right, now that the herbs are ready, let's prep the chicken. Always wash your chicken pieces and make sure they're thoroughly dry so that they don't go into the pan wet and they start splattering oil everywhere. All right, let's go over medium-high heat, add our oil, and heat it till it just starts to smoke. All right, let's get our chicken pieces in, and look at this. I didn't dry them good enough. I'm getting oil all over the stove. Oof. Oh, it's not that bad, actually. So you just want to get your chicken nice and browned. You don't want to overcook it. It's going to be all tough and dry. What if there are people out there that actually like their chicken tough and dry? Sorry, I got to speak up a little. I bet they exist, right? There's got to be people that like dry chicken. They just really want to give their jaws a workout while they eat. So I cut up this whole chicken. It was about 5 pounds. So it was a lot of pieces that had to go in and out of the pan. So I had to cook my chicken in batches. The last thing you want to do when cooking anything really is crowding your pan. So you know what I'm going to do right now? I'm going to crowd my pan with vegetables. I was drinking a few of those Pilsners that I got, and I was totally on autopilot. And I just cut all my vegetables at the same time and threw them in a big bowl together. Now, normally I would want to put my onions in first, cook those through. You always want to start with your onions. A lot of people make the mistake of putting their garlic in first or putting their garlic in at the same time as the onions. Garlic burns. Onions don't. They don't burn the same way. I think it has to do with the sugar content. Garlic actually has more sugar than onions, if I am correct there. I also like to toast my spices. Just cook these for about a minute. It really wakes the flavor up in a lot of the spices you're cooking with here, especially in Latin American cooking. Puerto Ricans were one of the immigrant groups that came to the islands back in the plantation era. Their influence is still a big part of Hawaiian culture and cooking. My dad's a half Puerto Rican, I'm a quarter. Let's get our rice in, get that toasted a little bit. I'll normally just use basmati or jasmine rice for this recipe, but today I happen to have arborio, which is, I remember reading years back an Arroz con Pollo recipe, and it called for arborio rice. So fortunate. All right, let's get our beer in. So normally I'd recommend you put about 6 ounces. It's like a half a 12-ounce can, right? And that'll give you a nice dry, oh, crap. Hold on. All right, take two. I added an entire 16-ounce steel can of Czech lager to my recipe because I love the flavor it gives. And I also like my rice a little softer. If you want a firmer rice texture, you can use 6 to 8 ounces, and that's your preference. But I like it. But I like all that awesome flavor you get from adding a whole can of beer. You're going to want to add a half a cup of that chicken stock. Turn your oven on to 375 and boil the rice for 5 minutes. Okay, 5 minutes has passed. You can stop cooking the rice, just turn your stove off, and let's put our browned chicken pieces back on top of the pot. Yeah, you just want to layer them. You don't want to push them down and just smash them into your cooking vegetables and rice. Just a nice layer on top. Remember, we just browned this chicken. We didn't cook it all the way through because now we're going to pop it in that oven and bake it for a half an hour. Okay, a half an hour is up. Remove it from the oven. Take the chicken out and fluff your rice. My pot's a little juicy from doubling the beer that the recipe called for, but this flavor is going to be so amazing. Layers of depth. It smells spicy, not in a heat way, but that it smells of it's just redolent of these rich spices. And there you have it, guys. Arroz con Pollo Borracho, or drunken chicken and rice, a dish loved by so many Latin American countries. Make it for yourself and you'll know why. I'm Aaron Ramson. Thanks for watching.
Shut the fuck up with the vacuum.